The Middle East is holding its breath as the US deploys a powerful naval armada near Iran, following stark warnings from former President Trump. The USS Abraham Lincoln, a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, now leads a fleet in the region, a clear signal of American resolve. This escalation follows months of rising tensions and Iran's brutal crackdown on nationwide protests over economic hardship. The Strait of Hormuz, a vital oil choke point, is at the center of this standoff. Any disruption could send global energy prices soaring. A war with Iran would likely draw in regional powers like Israel and Saudi Arabia, risking a multi-front conflict with catastrophic consequences. The world watches, hoping for diplomacy, but bracing for a conflict that seems to draw closer by the day. The decisions made now will determine whether the region steps back from the brink or tumbles into devastating war. The stakes could not be higher. Iran faces its worst internal crisis since the 1979 revolution, with mass protests erupting over economic collapse and government repression. The regime's violent crackdown has left thousands dead, eroding its legitimacy and exposing deep vulnerabilities. Years of sanctions and mismanagement have crippled Iran's economy, pushing ordinary people to the breaking point. U.S. intelligence suggests the government's grip on power is at its weakest in decades. Previous U.S. and Israeli strikes have further exposed Iran's military weaknesses, emboldening adversaries and hardening Tehran's resolve. The U.S. F-15E squadron now deployed is the same unit involved in earlier strikes, a fact not lost on Iran. Feeling cornered by both internal dissent and external threats, Iran's leadership views any foreign intervention as an existential danger. This volatile mix sets the stage for today's high-stakes confrontation. The U.S. deployment of the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Group, backed by UK Typhoon jets and F-15Es, is a show of force not seen in years. Iran has responded with live-fire military drills near the Strait of Hormuz, closing airspace and warning neighbors against aiding any attack. Saudi Arabia and the UAE, traditional rivals of Iran, now stress neutrality and refuse to allow their territory for strikes, complicating U.S. plans. Meanwhile, Israel threatens unprecedented retaliation if attacked, coordinating closely with Washington. This creates a tense triangle, the US and Israel pressuring Iran, while Gulf Arab states urge restraint. Diplomacy is underway, but the risk of miscalculation remains dangerously high. The region stands on a knife's edge with every move scrutinized by a nervous world. The next steps could determine peace or war. The risk of a military miscalculation between US and Iranian forces near the Strait of Hormuz is alarmingly high. Any conflict could disrupt a fifth of the world's oil supply, triggering a global economic crisis. For Iran, war would deepen economic collapse and human suffering, while for the world, it could mean soaring energy prices and political instability. Civilian casualties and a refugee crisis would be inevitable, with infrastructure across the region at risk. Foreign intervention could backfire, uniting Iranians behind the regime and silencing calls for reform. A wider conflict could empower extremists and unravel years of fragile diplomacy. The long-term consequences would reshape the Middle East and reverberate worldwide. The world cannot afford a war here. The Middle East stands at a tipping point, with US and Iranian forces on a collision course and regional powers urging restraint. Iran's internal crisis and external pressure make its actions unpredictable and dangerous. The US faces a delicate balance. Pressure could backfire, entrenching the regime it seeks to weaken. The immediate priority: prevent war through clear communication and urgent diplomacy. Saudi and Emirati mediation efforts are crucial and must be supported internationally. The focus must shift from threats to de-escalation, addressing both Iranian grievances and regional security. A Gulf war would unleash economic chaos and human suffering on a massive scale. The world's leaders must find the wisdom to step back from the edge before it's too late.